Hello, everybody. This is the Tesla Battery Day preview. This is StockerFinance. I am your host, David Scheuer, and let's just go ahead and hop into it. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is the 1 million mile battery. I think this is definitely going to be one of the main focuses at the event, and this is super important. And so, why is it super important, you may ask? Well, current Tesla batteries actually last between 300 and 500,000 miles, and then you have to replace them. And the average consumer drives 13,474 miles each year. Or if we look at the official average, this is the Federal Highway Administration data right here. We can see that the people who drive the most are 35 to 54 year olds. The people who drive the least are 16 to 19-year olds. So 35 to 54 year olds and that kind of range, also 55 to 64. They're the ones who are probably going to be purchasing Teslas on average. They're the ones who got the money. They're the ones who are capable of driving still, etc. And the average consumer, again, drives around 13,476 miles each year. And this is important data because using the average miles driven, if we do 13,476 or 74 divided, or a million divided by that number, you will get 74.217. That means that you won't need a new Tesla battery for 74 years, or just a little over 74 years. Basically, once you buy a Tesla, and the average person will probably purchase a Tesla, or the average consumer who is purchasing Tesla, I'm guessing their age is around 25 to 35, you basically will not need to replace your battery at all. It'll last your entire life, which is pretty incredible. It gives Tesla a huge competitive advantage. It saves consumers money, so it's just pushing Tesla even further ahead if they introduce this at Battery Day, and I kind of think they will. So again, it's just going to draw more consumers. It's going to save consumers money on battery replacements, and it's also important for the Tesla Semi. So it's important for the Tesla Semi, obviously, because it's driving substantially more than the average person. And with the list of companies that have purchased Tesla Semis so far, or at least pre-ordered them, and we're going to in the future, this will be a great selling point, saying, look, we have a 1 million mile battery. All the other electric pickup or electric semi trucks or even gas semi trucks, we're going to save you substantially more money, not just on maintenance, not just on the fact that using electricity instead of gas, not just on the fact that our windshields are stronger, but also our batteries will last for 1 million miles, which is an incredible amount even for semi trucks. And so, an important question for investors now is the battery already in production, or has it just been proven possible? I'm pretty sure they've proven possible. We've heard Elon talk about it. We've heard lots of different people talk about it at certain events, etc. There's been a couple questions asked towards Elon directly, and I think they're going to say the battery's already in production, and actually, I think they're actually going to say as well that it's going to be implemented into cars within a year. Again, it's on Tesla time, or on Elon time, so you never really know when they're going to start implementing it into vehicles. But I think it's going to be sooner rather than later if they introduce this at the Battery Day. But I would be very surprised if they don't talk about this at least a little bit at the event. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Tesla battery range. So this is just not a extremely important topic, not as exciting as the 1 million mile battery, but it is pretty important. Just in terms of being able to compete with gas cars even further. So the possible announcement for an increase in range to Model S, X, and 3, as well as future vehicles such as the Cybertruck, Roadster, and Tesla Semi. I think they're going to announce that we're going to get to a range of 500 miles in one charge. They keep increasing the range over time with just over-the-air updates, with just new sort of yearly versions. I know it's not like a new model necessarily, but they they update the cars slightly over time, kind of like Apple does with their iPhone. They make slight adjustments to every iPhone. Tesla does the same thing. They make slight adjustments to every car. So Elon stated that the Tesla 2020 Roadster would have a 500-mile range. He stated that a couple years ago, actually, when they released it. I think this could be a topic at the event, announcing a 500-mile range, or at least a increase in Tesla battery range to get towards that mark permanently. And I think it's going to be important for outperforming almost all gas cars in terms of range and competing with at least every gas car in terms of range. It's pretty rare for a gas car to go over 500 miles unless it has a massive tank. At least my cars don't do that. Anyways, so vehicle to grid. To summarize from my understanding, Tesla will act as a storage unit for energy, and this will allow Tesla owners to actually be paid to store energy. So they're essentially hacking into the electricity utilities grid. And I'm going to talk about that in a second and the potential value of that. It's going to allow for energy arbitrage. So you could purchase energy at down times and store it and then sell it back to the grid at peak times if you don't need it. Another revenue stream for Tesla owners on top of ride sharing. And this is going to go great with autonomous driving. While it's ride sharing or while you're sleeping, you can go out, purchase energy, and store it into its battery. And as the batteries increase in size and range, etc., they're going to be able to hold more and more energy. And there's an excess of energy right now. There's not enough places to store energy. So this is a perfect opportunity for Tesla and for Tesla owners to actually profit from their vehicles even further, which is crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about a vehicle actually being something that could profit for you when we really only think of vehicles, unless they're, rare retro vehicles, as depreciating assets. If you want to learn more about vehicle to grid, I suggest checking out other videos such as Galley's video on hyperchange for more details on this topic. He makes a great video about it, but there's plenty of them on YouTube. Just look up vehicle to grid Tesla, just search that on YouTube. And there's some great videos that go into immense detail just on this topic. So this is just a little summary, but definitely do some more research on this. It's super interesting. Next up, I want to talk about the potential value of Teslas. So the rideshare market is worth $61.3 billion as of 2018, projected to grow to $218 billion by 2025. And vehicle to grid, which is also goes along with the peaker plant market, is worth $800 billion potentially, and it's worth about $10 to $12 billion in the U.S. So our electric grid needs innovation and needs more storage units, as I was talking about, or not units, but just storage in general. So this is a perfect timing for Tesla to enter the electric utilities market and take advantage of the situation. Teslas will increase in value, not depreciate, as they become more autonomous and able to create income for owners. Which again is just crazy to think about, the fact that it's not a retro car, some old car from the 60s that's super cool, that's increasing in value because they're rare. It's actually going to be a common car that's increasing in value because it's actually creating income for their owners. I think that's super cool. They also may become cheaper to buy a Tesla, as Tesla profits off vehicle to grid, ride sharing, etc., which, because they're profiting off of those things, it'll actually make the initial price of the car cheaper, since they want more people to have them in order to profit off the long-term value of vehicle to grid and ride sharing, etc. So with Tesla's solar panels, battery technology, charging stations, etc., Tesla is really trying to take over and compete in the electric utilities company with electric utility companies, which is just a massive market. So it's really cool to see the potential value of Tesla and what it's going into in the future. And here is just the revenue for this is for ride sharing, I believe. Yeah, this is for ride sharing. So in 2018, it's worth $64 billion. It's projected to grow substantially by 2025. As you can tell, it dropped off significantly in 2020, since pretty much no one's been using Uber or Lyft, etc., or all these ride-sharing different apps. But it's going to rebound substantially as people come back to it. I actually think it's going to rebound way faster than this graph is showing. So this should be super interesting. Anyways, next up, I want to just talk about charging stations. Just a quick little update. I'm guessing they're just going to update to the total number of charging stations and number of charging stations expected to be created around the world in the future, especially in Europe and China. I won't be surprised if they touch on that a little bit. It'd be kind of nice to know an update of how many charging stations they've built in China, as well as, potential ones they're building in Europe and throughout that area. It's going to be super interesting to just get that little update. I'm not sure if they'll touch on this or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Even faster charging, maybe they'll touch on that a little bit. I just don't know if that's an announcement worth mentioning at this event. That's an announcement they could just make kind of on a regular day. So we'll see if they announce that at this event or not. I'm expecting the past things that I just talked about to be talked about a lot more than charging stations, but they could mention something really quickly about this. Again, just an update on charging stations for EVs. It's just kind of an idea. As other companies start to create EVs, could Tesla charge other companies for access to its grid if they use the same charging ports, and etc.? I think Tesla could profit a lot about this, since they have such a massive built-in grid that no other company has right now for charging stations, especially for superchargers. It would be really interesting if they could potentially charge other companies to use and have access to their grids. This is one of Tesla's main selling points, is that Tesla's, can use this charging grid. So I don't know, that's just kind of an idea. I don't think they're going to talk about that at this event, but it would be kind of interesting. So here's some just other random stuff that they may talk about or may not talk about. Auto Bidder software update, that's going to be interesting. If you want to know more about Auto Bidder, again, look up some videos on that. There's some great ones out there. This is just kind of a summary here. Tesla's virtual power plant. That kind of goes along with what I was talking about related to utility companies. New battery deployments around the world, potential for Tesla's energy growth. Elon said its energy sector is going to grow just as, or actually as fast or faster than the vehicle segment of Tesla. And we really haven't seen much from the energy sector besides the solar roof getting released, a little update to their website. Their growth has been fairly slow and kind of steady, but it's going to be really interesting to see if that picks up really rapidly in the future. A quick little solar roof update. Again, I don't think they're going to talk about this at all because it doesn't really go along with the theme of the battery day, but that's just kind of a random thing I threw in here. Future/current growth update of Tesla's business. I don't think they're going to talk about that, but they might just give a little update there. That's usually more of an earnings call thing. Ramp of energy storage products. I would not be surprised if they talk about that. And I think they'll definitely talk about the Terra factory that's sort of been that Elon mentioned, and as well as current Gigafactory updates, etc. That last one, Terra factories, I think he's definitely going to talk about that. That'll be really interesting to see what goes on there. So here's a little article from Popular Mechanics that I think really sums up well what Tesla's trying to do with its, competing in the electric utility market and with its plans for the batteries. So Elon Musk has announced ambitious plans to make Tesla batteries that can live second and even third lives as they survive for 1 million miles. The how do you say that? Mercurial, I don't know, stupid word. Billionaire has also announced plans to convert Tesla's mega factories into Terra factories that are 30 times larger. And all of this is in service of Musk's goals to turn Tesla into a power provider to compete with existing utilities. So that last sentence, and all of this is in service of Musk's goals to turn Tesla into a power provider to compete with existing electric utilities. I think that last sentence there, I just reread, is really what Elon's trying to do, is turn Tesla to compete and completely change the electric utilities grid, which has been largely unchanged for a fair amount of time now. But it's going to be really interesting to see what they announce. Let me know what you think they're going to announce. And just thanks for watching. Make sure to like, hit subscribe. I know this is an investing channel, not just a Tesla channel, but I'm invested in Tesla, and I like to talk about the companies that I'm invested in. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this update. I'm looking forward to Battery Day. It's going to be awesome. I think it's been delayed till next month, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, this is StockerFinance. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.